Imagine a moment, maybe not, some great adventure or a huge career win, but just a quiet conversation, one that leaves you feeling really nourished, understood, and actually surprisingly joyous. It's a feeling I think many of us crave, right? A deep human thing we sometimes overlook in, the rush of daily life. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going on a journey to unlock the happiness of a good conversation. Deep connections bring joy. And this isn't just about, pleasantries or making small talk. It's really an exploration into how intentional, meaningful conversation, it isn't just a social nicety. It's actually a fundamental pathway to genuine well-being. And it's backed up by both science and, interestingly, ancient wisdom. Our mission today really is to help you understand why these deep connections are so vital. For your happiness, yes, but also your mental strength, even your physical health. We want to empower you with concrete insights and practical tools, things you can actually use to cultivate these connections in your own life, turning maybe fleeting exchanges into real sources of joy.
So yeah, let's dive in. Okay, let's unpack this right from the start. We all do it, right? Small talk, the weather, weekend plans, what you had for lunch. Those kind of surface level exchanges. They're polite, they're easy. But I wonder, have you ever walked away from one of those chats feeling, a little empty, like you just crave something more, something that, resonated deeper, truly hit different?
It's interesting you asked that. That feeling is remarkably common, and research offers some pretty compelling backing for it. Studies consistently show that while, small talk is the norm, and it often feels comfortable, maybe even safe, it frequently leaves us feeling kind of bored, disconnected, and with a lack of fulfillment. There's this underlying sense that something's missing. Now contrast that with substantive, meaningful conversations. You see a significant, measurable boost in reported happiness and well-being. It's not just a hunch you have. It's a tangible difference in our emotional state. It signals that our brains, our bodies, they're really wired for something more profound.
So it's not just us feeling like we're, going through the motions with polite chit-chat. There's a real impact on our happiness. And this brings us to a really crucial distinction in communication, I think. Listening to understand versus, listening to respond. I think we can all picture someone who's definitely in that listening to respond camp, right? Already thinking about their next brilliant point before you even finished yours. Maybe their gaze is fixed somewhere else, just waiting for their turn.
Oh, that image is spot on. Yeah. And it highlights a core difference that dramatically impacts the quality of our interactions. Those who consistently practice listening to understand, they tend to have markedly better interpersonal relationships. They experience significantly fewer misunderstandings in their lives. They're not just waiting for their turn to speak. They're genuinely processing what the other person is communicating. The words, sure, but also the tone, the unspoken emotions, the subtle cues. Think of it like this, maybe. Are you being a detective or a debater?
Ooh, I like that. Detective versus debater.
Exactly. A detective is trying to piece together the truth of another's experience, digging into the nuances, the unspoken meanings, seeking to truly grasp the other person's reality. A debater, on the other hand, is just waiting for their opening, formulating their next argument. They often miss the core message, or worse, twist it entirely. This fundamental shift in approach, from preparing your rebuttal to genuinely seeking comprehension, it transforms the whole dynamic of the exchange.
That detective analogy really makes it clear.
Yeah.
And when we make that shift, when we move beyond the superficial and really lean in to understand, the benefits are, they're genuinely astonishing, aren't they? It's not just about feeling a little bit better in the moment. It feels like something much more foundational.
It absolutely is. The benefits are far-reaching. They touch almost every aspect of our well-being, from the immediate sort of fleeting feelings to the deep and lasting ones. Think about the instant gratification. You can experience an immediate mood boost, that rush of feel-good brain chemicals, but it goes so much deeper than that quick hit. Deeper conversations are a powerful, I'd even say essential antidote to feelings of loneliness and isolation, which are, let's face it, pretty widespread in our modern world and carry significant health risks.
Right, I've heard things about loneliness being as bad as...
Exactly. Chronic loneliness, some studies show, can be as detrimental to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Wow. That's stark.
It is. So deep conversation isn't just a pleasantry. It's a vital, maybe even life-extending nutrient for your entire being.
That's a powerful comparison. It really puts into perspective just how critical these interactions are, not just for our mental state, but for our actual physical longevity.
Precisely. And beyond that, deep conversations inherently promote empathy, which in turn makes you more trusting, kinder, more cooperative in your interactions. It fosters a more harmonious and supportive social environment around you. This deeper connection also profoundly enhances your sense of belonging, which is a fundamental human need, right? It helps us thrive. And a strong sense of belonging, coupled with positive affirmation from others, can significantly boost your self-esteem and your confidence in who you are, what you bring to the world.
So it's feeling better in yourself, feeling more connected to others, and literally living longer. It sounds like the ultimate win-win scenario.
It truly is. And this cascade of positive effects also contributes to a significant increase in your overall happiness and life satisfaction. And practically speaking, it literally opens the door to developing a greater number of genuinely close friends, enriching your social circle with meaningful, supportive bonds, not just a collection of acquaintances.
Right, quality over quantity.
Exactly. And what's even more compelling, as you touched upon, are the profound health benefits linked to these deeper connections. We're talking tangible physiological improvements, lower stress levels, a corresponding drop in cortisol, that infamous stress hormone, a lessened risk of developing depression and anxiety, increased longevity, as we said, lower blood pressure, even improved inflammation markers, and a more robust immune response. It becomes really clear that meaningful social connection isn't just a nice to have, it's a must have for a truly healthy and fulfilling life, which, given all these clear and profound benefits, raises that important question.
The million-dollar question, right?
Yeah. If the upside is so obvious, why aren't we having more of these deeply satisfying conversations?
That is the question. And maybe the answer lies not just in our habits, but, well, in the very machinery of our minds, the intricate wiring of our brains. Which brings us to the fascinating neuroscience of joyful connection. It's clearly not just a warm, fuzzy feeling, is it? There's a whole symphony of chemicals and brain regions at play, actively working to reward us for connecting.
You're right. Our brains are exquisitely wired for connection, and they actively reward us for the happiness it brings. Several key neurotransmitters get activated during these positive social interactions. They orchestrate that profound sense of joy and fulfillment we're discussing. We're talking about dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and oxytocin. Let's maybe start with dopamine, often called the brain's pleasure and reward chemical. But it's much more than just fleeting pleasure. It's about reinforcing behaviors that lead to sustained happiness, making us want to repeat them.
Ah, dopamine. The one we hear about with, like, treats or hitting goals.
Yeah.
That instant hit. But how does it specifically connect to a good conversation? How does a chat become a reward?
It's all about what we call the mesocortical limbic pathway. You can think of it as the brain's core reward system. Okay. Think of it like a dedicated happiness highway within your brain, specifically for connection. This intricate pathway starts deep in your midbrain in a region called the ventral tegmentum area, or VTA. When you engage in positive social interactions, like genuinely connecting with someone in a deep conversation, feeling heard, sharing a laugh, the VTA kicks off the release of dopamine. It's not just a random burst, it's a directed signal being sent.
So it's a specific dedicated pathway just for social rewards. That's really quite incredible.
Precisely. From the VTA, these dopamine impulses travel directly to the nucleus accumbens. This area is absolutely critical for processing sensations of reward and pleasure. When you feel that deep joy after, say, quality time with loved ones, or really clicking in a conversation where ideas just flow, the nucleus accumbens is highly active. It reinforces those behaviors, making you more likely to seek out those rewarding social experiences again. It's like your brain saying, yes, more of that, please. And then this pleasure pathway extends even further, reaching the prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex. That's our rational executive function brain, right? The planning part. How does dopamine, this pleasure chemical, play into that more thoughtful long-term part?
You've got it. The prefrontal cortex acts as a kind of rational overseer, maybe the brain's wise CEO. Here, dopamine helps us evaluate long-term rewards versus short-term fleeting gratification. In the context of conversation, it helps us prioritize activities that lead to lasting fulfillment over superficial, momentary interactions. So a deep conversation isn't just immediately pleasurable. Your brain recognizes it as something that genuinely contributes to your long-term well-being. It reinforces the desire for more exchanges like that. It's like a proactive investment in your happiness.
That's a powerful incentive to invest in deeper talks. Okay, what about serotonin? I know that's a huge player when it comes to mood regulation.
Serotonin is absolutely crucial for mood regulation, emotional stability. Yes. While dopamine gives you that immediate reward kick, serotonin is a key player in sustaining long-term happiness and mental health. It helps maintain a baseline of contentment. It doesn't just make you feel good passively, it actively promotes pro-social behavior. It enhances cooperation, kindness in your interactions. Think about how a stable, balanced mood makes you more open, approachable, less reactive, right?
Definitely.
This neurotransmitter also increases self-esteem, helping you feel more secure and confident in your relationships, which is vital for authentic connection. And fascinatingly, it's involved in memory formation and learning, ensuring that positive social experiences tied to serotonin release are strongly encoded. This reinforces happy behaviors, making you more inclined to repeat them.
And endorphins, are those just for like that runner's high after exercise, or do they play a role here too?
While the runner's high is a classic example, yeah, endorphins are the body's natural stress relievers and mood elevators in many contexts, including positive social bonding. They bind to opioid receptors in the brain, effectively mitigating the perception of both physical and emotional pain. This creates a profound sense of calm, resilience, even euphoria. These are foundational to happiness and feeling open. They boost motivation for long-term well-being and help us feel more comfortable and relaxed in social situations, reducing maybe some of that anxiety that might hinder connection.
So they literally make us less stressed, which then clears the way, opens the door for better, more comfortable connection. That makes perfect sense.
Indeed. And then there's oxytocin, often called the love hormone or the cuddle chemical or bonding hormone. It's a powerful neuropeptide and hormone that profoundly contributes to happiness by underpinning our human relationships and socio-emotional well-being. Oxytocin gets released during positive social interactions, especially those involving physical touch, like a warm hug, sure. But critically, also during trusting, empathetic conversations. It actively fosters social connections by promoting trust, empathy, and a sense of shared experience.
So it's literally the glue that helps us feel close, safe, and connected to others. That biological basis for bonding.
You've put it beautifully. It also directly facilitates cooperation and altruistic behavior, creating a sense of fulfillment and mutual well-being when we engage constructively with others. And here's a critical point for our well-being.
Yeah.
Oxytocin directly counteracts the stress hormone cortisol.
It fights stress directly.
Yes, promoting relaxation and calmness. This powerful stress buffering effect allows individuals to feel more at ease in social situations. It enhances overall happiness and makes deep conversations feel less daunting, more natural. So every time you lean into a truly meaningful exchange, you're not just having a chat, you're literally recalibrating your brain's reward system, training it to seek out and produce more sustained happiness. It's a proactive investment in your long-term well-being.
So our brains are essentially designed to reward us for connecting deeply. That is absolutely incredible and so empowering to know. But what about the brain structures themselves? Are there specific parts of the brain more involved in processing these joyful connections beyond just the chemicals?
Absolutely. Beyond the neurotransmitters, specific brain structures play significant roles. The amygdala, for instance. While it's widely known for processing fear and anxiety, acting as our brain's alarm system, it also plays a significant role in processing and enhancing the intensity of positive emotions and experiences.
Really? The fear center also does positive.
Yes. Think of it as an emotional amplifier. When something positive happens in a social interaction, a genuine compliment, a shared laugh, a moment of deep understanding, the amygdala helps to intensify that positive emotional experience, makes it more impactful, more memorable. However, it's a delicate balance. Chronic stimulation from prolonged stress can diminish this positive amplification. How? By increasing cortisol levels, making the brain less receptive to positive social cues. It makes it harder to find joy in connections.
Wow. So if we're perpetually stressed, it can literally make it harder for our brains to register and amplify the good stuff from social connections.
Yeah.
Sounds like managing stress is crucial to allow those positive social interactions to really land. What about the hippocampus? That's associated with memory, right?
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
Correct. The hippocampus is absolutely essential for memory formation and emotional regulation. While it doesn't directly generate happiness like the neurotransmitters we discussed, it contributes profoundly to long-term well-being by encoding positive memories. Think about it. A truly good conversation creates a rich, positive memory. The hippocampus ensures that memory is stored and easily retrievable.
So it locks in the good feelings.
Exactly. This supports emotional stability and helps us learn from experiences. It works closely with the amygdala to process these happy memories, shaping our perspectives, reinforcing optimism. By retaining these positive social memories, the hippocampus encourages us to seek out similar rewarding experiences in the future, effectively building a reservoir of happiness to draw upon.
So it's not just about the present moment, but how these experiences build over time in our memory, leading to sustained happiness. This really highlights that happiness isn't just, a fleeting feeling or a random occurrence.
And that leads us beautifully to the critical concept of neuroplasticity.
Right, the brain changing itself.
Yes, the brain's incredible dynamic capacity to form new neural connections, reorganize existing pathways, even recover from damage all throughout our lives. This dynamic feature is absolutely crucial for emotional regulation, personal growth, and, yes, the sustained pursuit of happiness. It means your brain isn't static or fixed. It's constantly adapting and evolving based on your experiences, your thoughts, your interactions. Practices like gratitude, mindfulness, and positive thinking, which, by the way, deep conversations naturally encourage and reinforce, can literally reshape your neural pathways to promote sustained happiness.
That's truly empowering. It means we can actively train our brains to be happier simply by engaging in meaningful interactions and thoughtful practices. That's incredible agency we have.
Precisely. It emphasizes that happiness is not a fixed state. It's a dynamic, ongoing process, continually shaped by our thoughts, actions, daily habits. By consciously leveraging the brain's natural capabilities through meaningful connections, maybe regular physical activity, mindful practices, we can build lasting happiness. And on a very practical note, we cannot overlook the critical role of sleep in this whole process.
Yes. Sleep. Always important.
Absolutely essential for processing emotions, consolidating those positive memories, and allowing our brains to reset and rebuild. Poor sleep disrupts this delicate balance. It hinders the optimal function and release of those crucial neurotransmitters we just discussed, ultimately increasing stress and diminishing overall happiness. It's all interconnected, you see. A beautiful, complex system working together.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. We understand why deep conversations are so profoundly good for us, the amazing things happening in our brains. But if that's all true, what stops us? Why aren't we all just having deep, meaningful chats all day long? You mentioned assumptions earlier. Often it's our own mistaken assumptions about others' interest in us. Is that a big part of it?
You've hit on a significant barrier, yes. Research consistently indicates that we frequently underestimate how much other people are truly interested in our personal stories, our thoughts, our insights, or in sharing their own. These mistaken assumptions create significant mental barriers that we need to actively overcome. We hold back, right? Assuming the other person would prefer superficiality, when often deep down they might be craving that authentic depth just as much as we are. It's kind of a silent standoff of mutual longing.
So if we're frequently making these incorrect assumptions, how do we break through? It sounds like deep communication isn't just something that magically happens. It's a skill. It truly requires conscious effort, like learning an instrument or a sport.
Exactly. Deep communication is a skill. It requires practice, patience, and a genuine, unwavering desire to connect. While it's rarely formally taught, in school, it's something you absolutely can cultivate and refine over time. So let's maybe delve into a comprehensive toolkit, some practical tips that can help you foster truly meaningful and joyous exchanges.
Okay, let's start with a big one that often makes people squirm a little. Vulnerability. It's kind of a buzzword sometimes, but what does it really mean in the context of building a good conversation? How do we approach it safely?
Right. Our first tip is to share vulnerably, but with discernment. This means being willing to share your genuine thoughts, your authentic emotions, your true experiences. This can include, elements of your personal history, your core beliefs, what truly inspires you, or even just your passions, even when it feels a little uncomfortable. As the researcher Brené Brown talks about so powerfully, vulnerability is fundamentally key to building trust and deep connections. When we show up authentically, even in small ways, we implicitly give others permission to do the same, fostering an environment of openness, mutual respect. For example, instead of just saying, my weekend was fine, you might say, my weekend was good, but actually I was feeling a bit reflective after reading this book that really challenged my perspective on X. It got me thinking about, that's a small, discerning act of vulnerability.
That makes perfect sense.
It really.
But with discernment feels like a really important caveat there, doesn't it? It's not about oversharing every deep, dark secret with just anyone you meet.
Crucially, yes, vulnerability is one tool among many in your social toolkit. It's not always appropriate or essential for every single interaction. You need to practice discernment. Ask yourself, is this a person I can and want to build a closer relationship with? Assess the odds of being received with respect, with care, rather than just letting it all hang out indiscriminately, which can be overwhelming for both parties, frankly. It's about being strategic and intentional with your emotional openness, taking calculated risks proportionate to the relationship.
That's a great distinction. Building trust, not dumping emotions. Got it. Okay, what's next in our toolkit?
Second, practice mindfulness and presence. Before engaging in a conversation, especially one you hope might go deeper, take a few moments. Ground yourself. Could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths, focusing on the present moment. Maybe set an intention to be fully present in the interaction. When you are truly engaged and mindful of your tone, your body language, your attunement to the other person, meaning you're picking up on their subtle cues, it creates an atmosphere where deeper connection can genuinely flourish. You're signaling, non-verbally, that they have your full attention and respect.
So it's not just about what you say or even how you say it, but how you simply show up in the moment. That's powerful.
Exactly. Our third tip, understand their values and connect to your own. Actively seek to understand what's truly important to the other person, what might positively or negatively trigger them. Try to extrapolate their core values. You might notice they consistently talk about fairness or family or maybe innovation. When you align their values with your own, it naturally leads to more thoughtful, caring interactions. This fosters greater mutual understanding, fewer assumptions, fewer judgments, and more compassion. So when someone has a strong emotional reaction, try to avoid focusing only on the surface content of what they're saying.
Right, don't just react to the words.
Instead, dig a little deeper. Ask questions like, what was important about that for you? Or what got stirred up in you then? And why do you think so? Or maybe, what did that mean to you? These questions go beyond the surface. They tap into underlying motivations, beliefs, experiences, which are often rooted in their values.
That really shifts the dynamic, doesn't it? From a potential debate or misunderstanding to genuine discovery. Okay, what about the types of questions we ask? Sometimes it feels like we just repeat the same old ones. How are you? Good weekend.
You're right. Our questions can make or break a deeper connection. So, tip 4 is to foster openness and safety with questioning. A common trap is using too many why or how questions. Sometimes they can sound a bit accusatory or confrontational, even demanding. Instead, maybe default to asking more what questions or gentle prompts like, please tell me more about, or I'm curious to hear more on that. These convey genuine curiosity and care. They invite elaboration rather than defense. It's also incredibly helpful to plan some engaging, thought-provoking questions in advance. Keep a few mental back pocket questions ready.
Oh, I like that. Mental back pocket questions.
Yeah, instead of the typical, how was your weekend? Maybe try. What's the most significant or maybe the most surprising thing that happened to you all weekend? Or who did you really enjoy interacting with this weekend and why? Consider asking what they wanted to be as a kid or what truly excites them right now. These types of questions make people feel truly noticed, accepted. They invite sharing more deeply and often reveal fascinating insights.
I love that idea. It makes initiating a deeper line of conversation feel less intimidating. Okay, what about when we think we understand what someone is saying, but maybe we're not sure?
Yes. Tip 5. Test your interpretations with reflective listening. This is simple but profoundly powerful. Use reflective listening by paraphrasing or mirroring what the other person stated. This ensures complete understanding and corrects any misinterpretations before they fester. Use phrases like, okay, so what I hear you saying is, or, so if I'm understanding correctly, you mean, or maybe just, do I have this right? Summarize your understanding to affirm its validity. This prevents those negative judgments and assumptions that can sabotage relationships. It ensures both people feel truly heard and understood. It's like checking your GPS, making sure you're still on the right road together.
That's so crucial for avoiding common misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And it probably makes the other person feel incredibly validated too. Okay, what about expressing empathy? We all want to be empathetic.
6th, express empathy overtly. As humans, we're uniquely equipped for empathy. We have these specialized neurons called mirror neurons. These neurons literally activate when we encounter an emotional expression in another person, often causing us to feel similar emotions. It's a genuine biological basis for connection.
Wow.
This capacity helps us bond and respond considerately to each other's needs. So don't just feel the empathy, express it. For example, if someone shares a difficult experience, instead of just a generic, oh, that's tough, you could maybe say, When you expressed your feelings about your friend's illness, it really touched me, and I feel deep empathy for what you're going through. Please share with me how I can be supportive of your needs right now. This validates their feelings, acknowledges your shared humanity, and offers tangible, actionable support.
That's a powerful way to show you're truly engaged and care. Moving beyond just words to a feeling of shared experience. And gratitude, that's important everywhere, including conversation, right?
Absolutely. Seventh, show gratitude in interactions. We can show thoughtfulness and appreciation by directly, verbally expressing it. This isn't just about saying thank you for a favor. If someone remembers something you shared previously and follows up on it, take the time to comment on it relationally. For example, before jumping into your answer, you could say, "Wow, thank you so much for remembering what I shared with you about my mother. It truly means a lot to me that you thought of me, remembered, and followed up. That really makes me feel seen." This reinforces positive connection and shows you deeply value their attention and care, makes them more likely to engage similarly in the future.
That's a small but mighty way to build rapport, affirming the other person's thoughtfulness. Okay, what about talking about the relationship itself? That can feel a bit awkward for some, maybe a little too direct.
It definitely can. Our eighth tip is to speak directly about the relationship. This can be challenging due to the vulnerability required, right? There's always a risk it won't be reciprocated or accepted. However, it's incredibly powerful for deepening bonds when done appropriately. Consider using connective language like, when we have these deep conversations, it makes me really appreciate you and our relationship, or maybe, I really care about you and I want to understand you better. I'm always here to listen. Even a simple thank you for expressing yourself so openly to me, it genuinely helps me to feel closer to you, can profoundly deepen the bond and signal your investment.
That really brings the conversation to a whole new level of intimacy and trust. And finally, the absolute cornerstone of good communication, perhaps the most fundamental one.
Ninth, and perhaps most fundamentally, listen intently and actively. This is non-negotiable. Give the other person your full, undivided attention. This means consciously letting go of other thoughts, putting away distractions like your phone, maybe even just turning it over and focusing solely on their story, their words, their emotions. Try to listen closely, open your mind, suspend judgment. Notice nonverbal cues, facial expressions, hand gestures, body language to discern the feelings behind the words. When you listen closely, not only do you gain deeper understanding, but you make the other person feel genuinely heard, valued, and cared for, which is the bedrock for building profound trust and rapport. It's about being fully, authentically present for them, signaling that their thoughts and feelings matter.
Those 9 tips are a fantastic foundation for anyone looking to build more meaningful relationships. But there are even more tools we can add to our connection toolkit, aren't there? Other approaches that can help.
There certainly are. One powerful additional tool is to simply share a little of yourself. To move beyond superficial small talk, make an effort to open up personally or emotionally, in small, safe ways. You might mention something you're genuinely grateful for today, or an innovative solution you recently found to a minor problem, or maybe your feelings about a recent milestone you reached, personally or professionally. Talking about positive experiences in particular has been shown to not only enhance your own mood, but also the mood of your conversational partner, creating a positive feedback loop.
That's a simple, low-pressure way to initiate deeper sharing without feeling forced or like you're oversharing. Okay, what else? Because sometimes conversations can just feel heavy, a bit too serious.
Indeed. Also, don't underestimate the power of humor. Bring out your funny side. Shared humor helps you resonate with another person on an emotional level. It fosters relaxation, builds trust surprisingly quickly. It's a universal language for good-natured bonding and can effectively open the door to deeper, more relaxed conversations. Laughter in itself is a powerful social connector, sometimes even triggering the release of those bonding hormones like oxytocin we mentioned. A shared chuckle can dismantle walls faster than almost anything else.
So don't be afraid to crack a well-placed joke. That makes sense. Laughter truly does lighten the mood.
Not at all. And next, seek common ground. This sounds obvious, maybe, but actively looking for a topic you both genuinely care about can get meaningful conversations rolling very naturally. For instance, imagine you're at a dog park. You notice someone else with an adorable pup. Instead of just a fleeting glance, strike up a conversation. Offer a genuine compliment about their dog. Then ask about its name, breed, any funny quirks it has. Then share some of your own stories about your dog. This creates an immediate connection point that feels natural, inviting, rooted in shared passion. It's about finding that shared thread that allows a more personal dialogue to unfold.
It's about leveraging those shared interests to bridge the gap. Find an authentic entry point for connection. And something important about being yourself, we hear that a lot, but how does it specifically apply here?
Absolutely. Be your authentic self. Remember, you have many interesting stories, unique insights, valuable thoughts, deeply held beliefs that are worthy of sharing. Own your worth. Try to be yourself in your interactions. Authenticity is magnetic. People are drawn to genuine presence. However, while being authentic, it's also important to be mindful not to dominate the conversation.
Right, it's a balance.
True connection is a two-way street, a dynamic exchange where both parties feel seen, heard, and have ample space to contribute. It's a dance, not a solo performance.
And like any skill we've discussed, whether it's learning a new language or mastering a sport, practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a one-time fix.
Without a doubt, practice helps. Taking more chances, initiating deeper conversations, engaging deeply. It gets significantly easier with consistent practice. Each time you do it, you flex a social muscle that strengthens over time, making future deep conversations feel more natural, less daunting, and more inherently rewarding. The more you put yourself out there with these intentional tools, the more comfortable and skilled you become. Ultimately, deeper communication is a powerful, transformative act. It can enrich your life and strengthen your connections beyond measure. The next time you engage in a conversation, maybe pause, listen, speak with intention. You might be surprised, even elated at the depth of connection you can achieve.
That's a truly fantastic toolkit for anyone looking to build more meaningful relationships and infuse their daily life with more joy. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this profound power of conversation, it isn't just a modern discovery or some self-help trend, is it? It goes way back, millennia even. Consider the enduring concept of Freud's talking cure. Now, traditional therapy isn't a casual chat, obviously, but the very phrase itself highlights the deeply healing, transformative, and you could say civilizing power of spoken exchange in our lives. It implies that simply expressing what's inside in a safe space can bring profound shifts.
What's fascinating here is how much of what we experience in a truly good conversation aligns with deeper psychological and philosophical concepts, ideas explored for centuries. Take the idea of transference in good conversation, for instance. Freud observed patients developing a deep sense of affection, sometimes intense attachment, for their therapists as they opened up. Now, in the context of a profound, non-clinical conversation, it's that profound, almost falling in love feeling that can emerge, even in purely platonic connection. A deep, authentic affection where the boundaries between you and the other person seem to blur. You feel truly seen, understood, almost as if you are one. It's an authentic welling up of positive feeling for another person that goes far beyond mere politeness or casual interests.
So the profound sense of connection that can feel almost akin to a new love, even if it's platonic, that's a really intense way to describe it. And you mentioned desire earlier, too. How does that factor into the unique nature of conversation?
The idea of desire in conversation is also truly intriguing. It sets it apart from many other human experiences. Unlike, say, sexual desire, or even the desire for food or achievement, which finds a distinct consummation, a clear endpoint. Conversation does not consummate, it merely stops by arbitrary necessity.
You have to leave or the phone rings.
Exactly. You might have to leave for a meeting, pick up a child, simply run out of time. These endings are almost always in medias res mid-narrative, leaving a lingering sense of anticipation. While a relationship can sometimes feel over once a particular desire is consummated, friendships, crucially, are never over after a good conversation. Instead, they are sustained and bolstered by it, always leaving something more to explore, an invitation for the next connection.
That's such a beautiful distinction. It's the ongoing, unending nature of the connection that builds. So what does this all mean for us? That deep-seated human need for connection isn't just for romance or family. It's fundamental to all our bonds. We're inherently driven to converse, to fill a lack in ourselves, maybe. Seeking to engage with someone who is other, someone from a different position, another background, different experiences, or even just different DNA. It's about recognizing and actively welcoming that difference as the premise upon which truly good conversation is built. It's not about finding someone exactly like you, but embracing the unique perspective the other brings.
This is a profoundly crucial point. It speaks to growth. Good conversation provides a unique crucible. It allows us to practice uncertainty, open-endedness in a safe, dynamic environment. It offers exercise in extemporaneity, in experimentation, the joy of thinking on your feet. In doing so, it serves to deconvert us from rigid, established forms of belief. It challenges our comfortable certainties. There is, quite simply, no better antidote for certainty than ongoing, spirited conversation with a friend who genuinely disagrees with you.
An antidote for certainty. I like that.
It challenges us gently, forcing us to re-examine our own convictions, not through argument, necessarily, but through the patient, respectful exploration of differing views.
That's such a powerful image. Conversation actively helps us grow and adapt, making us more flexible in our thinking. It's really like a team sport, isn't it? Not a solo performance at all.
Indeed. Consider the creative pleasure. If writing and formal speechifying are maybe like sculpture, you're modeling something precise through words in a solitary, controlled space. Conversation is far more like a dynamic team sport. The game proceeds within certain parameters, rules, but it is inherently unpredictable, reliant on constant coordination, improvisation, extreme attentiveness to others.
You're playing off each other.
Exactly. You're not just delivering a monologue, you're responding, building, sometimes playfully challenging. Through this improvisational flow, we often discover new elements in our own nature, bringing forth unforeseen aspects of ourselves to fit, counter, or complement what the other person is saying. It's a reciprocal creative act. Over time, we even subtly incorporate aspects of others into ourselves, expanding our own perspectives. One could truly say that in good conversation, the distance between self and other is temporarily bridged. Much like what happens in a deep love relationship. It can be hard to recall who said what when a conversation truly works, even when people are very different or stand on opposing sides of issues, because the shared experience becomes paramount.
And this wisdom, that conversation, is so powerful and transformative. It isn't new at all, as you said. People have been pondering and celebrating this for thousands of years, across cultures, continents.
Absolutely. We find this deep appreciation echoed throughout history, demonstrating its enduring importance. The Roman lawyer and orator Marcus Tullius Cicero, writing way back in the 1st century BCE, eloquently asked, "What can be more delightful than to have someone to whom you can say everything with the same absolute confidence as yourself?" This highlights the profound trust and intimacy that good conversation fosters, a safe harbor for our innermost thoughts.
And then a few centuries later, another celebrated figure picked up that mantle, practically built his entire literary legacy on the value of conversational thought.
Yes, in the 16th century, Michel de Montaigne, whose pioneering personal essays are themselves a towering tribute to his profound love of conversation. He famously wrote that he'd sooner, I think, consent to lose my sight than my hearing in speech. He valued the act of exchange, listening and speaking, that highly. His celebrated essays were written partly to fill the void left by his most cherished friend and conversational companion, Etienne de la Boétie, who died tragically young. The essays, in a way, became a continuing, imagined dialogue with his lost friend, a poignant testament to the depth and necessity of that bond.
That's incredibly moving. The idea that a friendship so profound could even inspire a whole new literary form. So it's not just personal well-being, but also how conversation can literally shape nations. That feels like a big leap.
Indeed. On a grander, even societal scale, consider historian Akil Reed Amar's compelling argument in his 2021 book, The Words That Made Us. He posits that the American Revolution succeeded not just through battles, but fundamentally due to long and probing conversations among constituents across the 13 colonies. These weren't just formal debates. They were myriad informal, deeply persuasive exchanges in taverns, meeting houses, homes, which mobilized disparate people to a common cause, building a shared vision, a shared identity. In stark contrast, King George III's consistent refusal to listen or truly converse with his American subjects, his dismissive attitude towards their grievances, that contributed directly to the British loss. It powerfully illustrates how critical, effective communication and genuine dialogue are, even at the highest levels of governance, to unite and move people forward.
It's fascinating how a lack of conversation or a refusal to engage can have such profound historical consequences. And then, jumping forward to the 19th and 20th centuries, it seems conversation evolved again. It became almost a skill to be acquired for upward mobility, social advancement.
That's precisely right. In 19th century American society, for instance, numerous etiquette books emerged. Titles like Manners for Men or The Gentleman's Book of Etiquette. These guides meticulously detailed proper conversational skills, often with a utilitarian focus on self-improvement, shaping the self for social advantage, how to impress, how to charm, how to make a favorable impression. This trend really exploded in the 20th century when Dale Carnegie created an entire industry from teaching conversational skills. His famous 1936 book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, his work overwhelmingly emphasized upward mobility, getting ahead in society, an offshoot of broader self-realization movements focused on individual success.
It sounds like a lot of these guides focused heavily on technique, on how to do conversation well, almost like a formula. But there's a powerful paradox in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Especially when we talk about deep, authentic connection.
There is a truly fascinating and deeply moving paradox, yes.
Okay.
And it's beautifully illustrated in Milton Wright's charming 1936 book, The Art of Conversation. On the surface, it's filled with erudition, literary citations, and exhaustively outlines detailed conversational scenarios designed to achieve specific outcomes. For example, he describes a wife practicing dinner conversation with her husband in advance for his boss, meticulously detailing the boss's love of fishing and pike smoking so her husband can strategically insert those topics.
Wow, really drilling down.
Oh, yes. Wright even provides minute, almost comically detailed instruction on developing repartee. It must be prompt, seem impromptu, be based on the original premise, and absolutely outshine the original remark. He advises practicing imaginary scenarios to avoid l'esprit d'escalier, that frustrating feeling of thinking of the perfect comeback only after the moment has passed, maybe on the staircase leaving the party.
So he's teaching people how to manipulate conversations, almost like a strategy guide for social success. That feels quite at odds with what we've been discussing about authentic connection.
Yes, on the surface, it's all about technique, cleverness, how to perform. And yet, the surprising, moving contradiction lies in how Wright chooses to end his entire book. Despite detailing all these levers, all these techniques to manipulate others for successful conversation, he concludes on a profoundly simple note. He says, "If you can forget yourself, then you have learned the innermost secret of the art of good conversation. All the rest is a matter of technique."
That's incredibly powerful. The secret he arrives at isn't technique at all, but something much deeper, something about letting go of self-consciousness.
It is. This secret cannot truly be taught in a step-by-step manual, much like being told to be spontaneous. It doesn't work like that. It's a state of being swept up in the flow of the moment, a state achieved by letting go of self-consciousness, of trying to impress, of strategizing your next move. It's about becoming truly present and engaged, rather than focusing on your own performance or what you'll say next. It's also a powerful reminder not to write off others due to superficial differences or initial disagreements. Because spirited engagement, even with someone who challenges your perspective, can break rigid thought patterns and lead to unexpected, profound connection.
What a journey we've been on. We've gone from the profound psychological, even physical benefits of deep conversation, through the fascinating neuroscience explaining why it makes us happier. We've equipped ourselves with practical tools for more meaningful exchanges, and reflected on this rich historical and philosophical legacy that affirms its timeless power.
The central message, I think, is clear. Cultivating deep connection through intentional conversation isn't just a social nicety. It's a fundamental human need. It brings immense joy, fosters understanding, and enriches every facet of your life. It's a skill, yes, requires practice, genuine intention, but it offers incredible, often surprising rewards for your overall health, mental well-being, and your sense of belonging in the world.
So the next time you find yourself in conversation, maybe with a stranger you encounter on your commute, a longtime friend you haven't truly connected with in a while, or a family member across the dinner table, pause, take a breath, listen, and then speak with intention. What new insights will you discover, not just about the other person, but maybe about yourself? What forgotten part of you might emerge in that beautiful improvisational dance of words? The pursuit of deeper conversation is, well, it's an unending quest. And like life itself, its beauty truly lies in the journey, always leaving something more to explore, to connect with, and to seek.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep diving deep.